Wendy Williams just came out with an insane announcement. Ricky Gervais and Wendy Williams are teaming up to expose Ellen for exactly who she is and reveal how she was allegedly involved in silencing her opposition. Ellen's show aired for 19 years, and during that time, Ellen allegedly threatened both Ricky Gervais and Wendy Williams. In this video, we're going to look at what happened and how they're finally responding.
You know, we haven't seen you really around since the Golden Globes, where
they
you
keep
were
a low profile.
Yeah, well, they attacked you, but they said that you were mean and rude, and you were surprised at that. You were surprised. Let me just read one of the things they thought
I'm mean
was...
and rude. I'm surprised they attacked me for it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ricky Gervais hosted the Golden Globe Awards 5 different times between 2010 and 2020. During his final appearance, Ricky called out some of the most powerful people in the entertainment industry. Major producers, directors, actors, and music executives were in the room when Ricky suggested that people in Hollywood had connections to Jeffrey Epstein. This happened back in 2020, years before additional information surrounding the Epstein case would become public. But even then, Ricky Gervais seemed determined to put the industry on notice.
What made you think, you know what, I'm just going to hammer him? I don't care what the...
Well, I thought, when they said, do you want to host the Golden Globes, all that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, I'm going to write my own jokes. Right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires? And it was a no-brainer. I was doing it for them, you know, and I didn't want to, it wasn't set out to hurt their feelings, but it was, if you're going to make it a spectator sport, then you better have something, better be something in it for the people at home.
And it wasn't the first time Ricky had gone after these figures either. During one of his stand-up specials, Ricky even took aim at the BBC, one of the biggest names associated with the entertainment industry. As much as Hollywood may try to ignore these controversies, Ricky has repeatedly argued that some powerful people in the industry have been accused of deeply disturbing behavior, including allegations involving the exploitation of children. Ricky was simply connecting the dots and putting those claims under a much brighter spotlight.
The pedo hunter shows, on the other hand, there's usually a company in the crew just in case, you know what I mean? Particularly if it's a BBC production. Oh, shut up.
And it's not like Ricky wasn't scared either. He knew what speaking out could potentially mean for his career, but unlike many of the other celebrities in that room that night, he didn't seem to care. To Ricky, calling out what he believed was happening in the industry appeared more important than any award or recognition he could receive. At the time, much of the audience simply laughed it off as part of the joke. But when you look at the reactions of some of the people Ricky was targeting, the mood seemed noticeably different. Not everyone was smiling.
Some of the riskiest comedy of your career has been delivered live to millions of people around the world, and a room full of some of the world's most famous film stars and directors and producers, when you were hosting 5 Golden Globe ceremonies between 2010 and 2020, I think. Yeah. Did you set out each time primarily to, puncture the pomposity of that world of celebrity and to expose some of the absurdities and what you saw as the hypocrisies of Hollywood?
Yes, and that got more honed and more targeted and more important and more liberating as I went along. Do I bite the hand that feeds me? Well, the answer is yes. Because who am I doing it for? Am I doing it for the 200 egos in the room, the most privileged people on the planet? Or am I doing it for the 200 million people around the world watching who aren't winning a Golden Globe, who aren't multi-millionaires? Of course I'm doing it for them. I'm the fat bloke on the couch eating potato chips watching this. And I played that card. I shouldn't be there. I purposely played the outsider. I walked out with a beer. I didn't look like them. I didn't act like them. I didn't think like them. The truth is, I do know some of them. I have got things in common with some of them. I'm an actor, I'm an entertainer. I was there as a comedian. And I think that, again, particularly in British comedy, a stand-up is a court jester. We're down with the peasants, laughing at the king. You've got to be in the mud with them.
Ricky is famous for making offensive jokes. But the moment he actually mentioned Jeffrey Epstein and the people allegedly connected to him, the room fell silent. After that appearance, Ricky was never invited back to host the Golden Globes. Years later, the release of additional Epstein-related records brought renewed attention to many of the subjects Ricky had joked about that night, Flight logs, emails, and other documents revealed connections between Epstein and numerous wealthy and influential figures across different industries. There were also disturbing allegations surrounding Epstein's efforts to recruit young women and girls, including claims involving modeling opportunities and invitations connected to his private island, Little St. James. Another person who was never afraid to speak her mind was Wendy Williams. Wendy has faced serious personal and professional struggles in recent years, including being placed under a court-ordered guardianship. When Ellen first announced that she was ending her show, many celebrities reacted as though it marked the end of an era. Wendy, however, offered a very different reaction. Rather than simply celebrating Ellen's television legacy, she drew attention to the controversies surrounding the show and the allegations made by former employees. Wendy suggested that there was another side to Ellen that the entertainment industry had largely ignored.
And here's the thing. I'm glad that you thanked your Ellen fans, or whatever you call your nation. But 19 years on TV doesn't change your life. It exposes you for the person that you really are. Suzanne, you've been around the block.
Yes, I have been around the block. No, but I've been in this business for a while.
A long time.
I've worked with some all different types of hosts.
Yes.
And there's a lot that goes on.
Behind the scenes.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that all the guests are happy. I was a guest, I wasn't happy. Just saying, Norman. Mm-hmm. And people called me out on it before I was able to say anything about it. Like, oh my gosh, that was... Joelle, you know what I'm saying. You've been around the block.
Wendy was calling out people she believed were criminals and predators in the entertainment industry, while others, in her view, were trying to protect them or keep those allegations out of the spotlight. During an appearance on Ellen's show, Ellen appeared to mock Wendy for speaking out about powerful people in the industry and made a remark that Wendy seemed to interpret as a warning. Even though the exchange was presented as a joke, Wendy's reaction suggested that she may have taken it more seriously than the audience realized. This is part of why Wendy later suggested that Ellen had a darker side that viewers didn't always see. While the audience laughed, Wendy appeared noticeably uncomfortable, as though she believed there was more behind the comment. Wendy was also known for publicly discussing allegations involving Diddy and other powerful music executives, including claims about the treatment of young stars such as Usher and Justin Bieber. During one appearance on Wendy's show, Diddy mentioned Wendy's son, and her expression immediately changed. To some viewers, that moment looked less like casual conversation and more like a warning for Wendy to back off.
All right, so here's Wendy Williams. This is back in 1998 in the call that got her fired from Hot 97, Hot 28.
I just want to know, do you really think that every player is gay, or every other player is? Are you a little gay obsessed, do you think?
I'm not gay obsessed, and every other would be an exaggeration, but I would say 2 out of 10.
Okay.
In sports, and 5 out of 10 in music.
Okay.
Yes, and I don't think that's gay obsessed. I think that's after being in this business for over 20-something years and seeing things from the inside out and the outside in.
So next thing she knows, she's fired. And then, again, that was 1998. And then she spoke to Howard Stern in 2006, and he brought it up. Watch this.
Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Something like that. Well, listen, you figure it out. You do the music of what was playing back in 1998 on the majority of every radio station 25 times an hour.
Okay, it's not a denial. And the last but not least, Diddy went on the Wendy Williams show in 2017. So now we're, many years after her firing, almost 20 years after her firing because of that comment. And he makes some comment about her son. Watch this.
As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Who I met backstage, he
did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You represent a lot.
You can see how awkward she is as soon as she hears they met. And he's now got a visual on the son. And I would submit to you, Wendy Williams was concerned to hear that the two of them had an exchange backstage.
Well, I think that clip is really interesting because it takes a lot to trip Wendy Williams up. I mean, this is a woman who would get on TV 5 days a week, much as you do, and speak extemporaneously, you know? And this is her world. She's been in it forever. And Sean Combs, you can tell my opinion, that she's taking that as a not so thinly veiled threat.
Wendy Williams was the face of daytime talk shows for years. She dominated television with her larger-than-life personality, unfiltered commentary, and willingness to say things that many other hosts wouldn't. At the height of the Wendy Williams show, celebrities feared her Hot Topics segment because almost nothing was considered off-limits. But in recent years, Wendy's circumstances have changed dramatically. She has faced serious health and legal challenges and has publicly expressed frustration over restrictions placed on her independence and ability to speak freely. To some of her supporters, the situation has raised questions about whether one of television's most outspoken personalities is now being prevented from telling her side of the story.
A horrible person to me. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's the way he moves with other people, you know what I'm saying? And what's going on with these other people at my apartment in Miami? What are you doing? Oh, you spent on what? And what is going on at Wells Fargo?
The terms of Wendy's guardianship seem to be extreme. I've spoke to her several months ago, and she just sounds like the same Wendy. Yes, is she quirky? Sure. Is she eccentric? Sure. She always has been.
And now a new revelation. Her team says a new medical evaluation ordered by Wendy's court-appointed legal team finding she does not have frontotemporal dementia.
She does not have frontal lobar dementia. So that should be game, set, match.
Wendy was one of the first people to speak publicly about the alleged exploitation of young boys in the music industry and to question why some parents were willing to leave their children in the care of powerful industry figures simply for the chance at fame or financial success. She also raised concerns about Diddy long before the later allegations against him became widely publicized. Wendy questioned why any parent would place so much trust in someone surrounded by serious rumors and controversy. According to Wendy, some parents may have known far more about what was happening behind the scenes than they were willing to admit.
You know, what's worse, hip hop wearing skirts or hip hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny, which is your sexuality. So I hear what Jamar is saying, but we come from a very homosexual era of hip hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now. So,
do you think now with people like Frank Ocean coming out of the closet, even though he's not exactly a rapper, but he definitely overlaps into the rap community? Do you think that we're gonna have a time where it's cool to be a gay rapper?
I don't know.
When the Epstein files were released, renewed scrutiny fell on some of the powerful figures who had long dominated the entertainment industry. Ellen is now living in the UK and has spoken publicly about leaving the United States. Meanwhile, speculation continues to surround other celebrities who have also chosen to spend more time abroad. Some critics believe the growing number of investigations and lawsuits involving powerful entertainment figures could be contributing to that unease. And speaking of lawsuits, Diddy has faced numerous civil lawsuits containing serious allegations from multiple accusers. For Wendy's supporters, these developments have brought renewed attention to many of the concerns she had been raising about the entertainment industry for years.
Growing fallout over the latest release of the Epstein files, Hollywood mogul Casey Wasserman is selling his sports marketing and talent agency after his suggestive emails with Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell were revealed. Here's ABC's investigative reporter, Olivia Rubin.
Tonight, outrage over the Epstein files forcing a Hollywood heavyweight talent agent Casey Wasserman to sell his namesake firm following the release of his suggestive emails with longtime Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. In a note to employees, Wasserman writing he had become a distraction for the agency, which represents thousands of celebrities, performers, and athletes. He revealed the sell-off is already underway, following the departure of Grammy Award-winning singer Chappell Roan and soccer legend Abby Wambach. Among those newly released messages, Wasserman, who flew on Epstein's plane in 2002 for a Clinton Foundation-led humanitarian delegation, writing to Maxwell in March 2003, "I think of you all the time, so what do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit?" Maxwell responding in April, offering to give him a massage that can, quote, drive a man wild.
The price Wendy has paid for trying to protect young stars in the industry has been incredibly high. Even then, some whistleblowers and alleged victims faced consequences far more serious, with certain cases ending in tragedy before they ever had the chance to fully tell their stories.
How dare him? How dare him? I control me.
Well, and you know your limits, you know.
Let me tell you something right now. I don't need Will for anything.
Carolyn Andriano and Lee Sky Patrick were two individuals whose names became connected to the cases involving Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Both later died in what were reported as accidental overdoses, years apart. Their deaths have since attracted renewed attention because of their connections to such a high-profile case. Here's what the mother of one of those individuals had to say.
It makes me sick. Literally turns my stomach.
That's Dorothy Granert's Feeling, whose daughter, Carolyn, was recluded by Epstein when she was only 14 years old. According to her mother, the unimaginable acts that she lived in Epstein's mansion haunted her for years.
A wreck. Because she would disappear out of shame.
Authorities declared her daughter Carolyn dead due to an overdose in May of last year. She left behind 5 children and her mother. The only person somewhat responsible was Jeffrey Epstein, who committed suicide in jail.
I couldn't even sleep in my room because I've got all Carolyn's artifacts of memories we made. And I said to my son, I said, I can't sleep in my own room. All I see is Carolyn.
Right now, Wendy is fighting to regain control over her life and end the guardianship. She has disputed claims about the severity of her cognitive condition and has publicly argued that she should have more independence. Wendy has also claimed that she is being kept in a restrictive environment against her wishes. Her situation has fueled an ongoing debate over her guardianship, her health, and whether she should be allowed greater control over her personal and financial decisions.
So, our recent events have been unbelievable. Talk about it.
We came back from dinner, and apparently police were called. But I was told that at some point, police were called because the coterie here was saying allegedly that I took my aunt from this facility and whisked her away without any sort of confirmation or approval. Which according to everything that we have learned in terms of this whole situation, wondering exactly how that correlates with the statements that the guardian has made that Wendy is able to come and go as she pleases.
Right.
And that there are no family visits that are blocked.
Clearly, they are lying to me when they say I can go out and do what I want to do. This is my niece, Alex. She just flew in from Miami, okay? I just came from the hospital. So we are going out to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate what? I don't know. I'm from the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And of life. Right. And this is what has been done to us.
We're good.
We're good.
We're back in one piece.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Carolyn Andriano and Lee Sky Patrick were two individuals whose names became connected to the cases involving Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Both later died in what were reported as accidental overdoses, years apart. Because of their connections to such a high-profile case, their deaths have since drawn renewed public attention and raised further questions among those following the Epstein and Maxwell cases. Here's what the mother of one of them had to say.